Hello, everyone. This is we're back again between two teachers, and I'm Consuelo Lara.
I'm Madeline Kronenberg.
So we're gonna catch you up on what we did this week. For me, I got a new experience. We went to Sacramento to the CalBOC Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, but it's at state level conference. So I knew nothing about any of this, and it was a really very informative, lots of resources, and primarily it was for taxpayer associations, other elected officials, and it gave me insight into what our CBOC should look like as well. And things that I found interesting were most of them, the committees are about 7 members. Ours is going to go down to 12 from 14. And also that many times they meet just quarterly, 4 times a year, and not every month. And so those were some of the things that came up. And it was all talking about accountability and making sure you have input from the community. And I think people from our district could probably go up there and run a workshop, because this district has done so much in terms of construction. And many of those districts, they're smaller, and it was just a lot easier for them, it seemed like. So that's what I learned.
Fiona Ma was there, right?
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
what was interesting to me about, and I've been several times before, that it was important. I thought that you got a chance to see how it works, the lay of the land. And they did speak about the importance of training, because when new members come on, it's complicated. There's a lot to learn. And so now the state treasurer's department, her department, has training videos that she was putting on, right, that she's going to add to, which I think is a wonderful idea, and that are worth it to anybody who gets appointed to an oversight committee. And in addition, the CalBOC themselves, they have some training videos so that people have a sense of how to, for example, look at an audit, which is one of the main things that bond oversight committees are tasked with doing, so that you understand what your role is, and that you don't go beyond your role, but that you do certainly live up to the role that you have. And that's what Ms. Ma was speaking about. And then there was also somebody there from a professor who talked about the importance of what happens with assessed valuation, and how very often poorer communities, low-income communities, don't get the same bang for their buck in assessed valuation, and the money that's available for them through their own bond measures to be able to build. And that's interestingly, West Contra Costa has been very aggressive over the past 15 years, and has actually looked for waivers to be able to get more bang for our buck. But not everybody has done that, and they had created a remarkable chart. And actually, I'll put the link to it in this in the description to this episode, so that if anybody who wants to go back and see the research that they've done, and the way they put the research together, you can see how each district in the state is where they are in terms of how much their taxpayers are paying and what they're getting for the deal is, if you wind up with 0, that means nothing's ever been done. You have nothing. You haven't done anything. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to have a higher number. The idea is that you get what you pay for, and you either vote to build more, or you don't, right? And then we went on and had our CalBOC meeting, right, or our CBOC meeting,
and we got to listen to the auditors. So there was a performance audit, a financial audit, And,
And a joint meeting. This was the
oh yes, this was a joint.
something also is not required, but anyway, this is a joint meeting by the school board and the CBOC.
Right, right. And it's very interesting. So we were able to listen to the auditors, and they did the presentations. And the first one was the financial audit, I believe. And there were a lot of pages where it said, you know, no recommendations, no findings. So we're doing pretty good, I think. And then the performance, there were some recommendations having to do with documentation of procedures, and it's just, you haven't done enough paperwork. So
Policies. They wanted
policies
what they want
in
was
writing.
more policy manuals. That's what they actually are
That's what they're
hoping
looking for.
That is what they're looking for. So if you have everything about running the bond program in somewhere in a policy manual, then you will have met the goal that they have set for you.
And didn't you say that they write those manuals?
Well,
So
they
you could
did offer.
actually
They did say that.
hire
And as a
them.
matter of fact,
You could
they
hire us
You
to
could
do
hire,
that.
but that's not really, you know, that's neither here nor there. But yes, it is one of the things that they do. Right, that's why they know that it's so interesting that is, and that's what they're looking for, because their remedy to any kind of problem is, oh well, you didn't have a policy in place that somebody could have followed. So what remedy is to put the policy in place, and that means that you have to have staff. I mean, Ms. LeBlanc said this, that there's not enough staff
No.
to
No.
spend time writing policy manuals.
Exactly, and that's been something that I've seen. You know, this is a school district. We're about teaching and learning, and when we have to drop those things or let go of those things to do a lot of this above and beyond in terms of documentation and research that people want you to do, it's difficult. It is difficult for such a large district. I think it's a small staff for me.
Well, for the facilities department, of course, has gotten smaller in the work that they're assigned and the money that's left in the bond program.
And that's the other thing too. I think that this there was a time when there was a lot of construction going on, and so there was a lot of activity. And so you don't need to do the same things you did then, because today we have one.
Yes, which we're going to talk about.
So, you know, you can downsize. It doesn't have to be as big as it is right now. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'll change my mind once I'm in it. I don't know. But that's kind of where I am right now. And the auditors, I have to say, said that we're progressing, we're on the right track, and we're doing good. I asked them specifically, are we okay? Are we good? And they said yes. So that's what
right.
happened.
You did, and Mr. Duffy asked as well, just to clarify, because there was some confusion. Some of the oversight committee members seemed to, be very disappointed. So I thought that the auditors did come back, and I said what they said was there's a bell curve, and basically we're in the middle.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
So
speaking of buildings, then we went to see a building.
Oh, yeah. We went to go see Pinole Valley High School construction. Unannounced, but they were very hospitable to us, and we got our hard hats. And I'm just so pleased with it. It's going to be very, very beautiful. It's going to be a showcase, and it seems to me the facility is really going to be fostering like the arts. There's going to be this incredible theater, and we didn't get to see that, but we're going to go back. And then also dance and the PE area. It's all just, it's so gorgeous and very high tech, and the landscaping is coming, like, looks very like it's just going to be gorgeous. I just can't believe it.
They did a great job in programming it. But, and they also have their academies. They have a law academy, and they have the environmental academy and an engineering academy. So they're like all of the other buildings in the district that were designed. They were designed in collaboration with a faculty team who were interviewed by the architects, and so that they could decide what programming they needed to build into the new school. And the new school does. The other people on the committee also were folks from the city council, and members of the community, in addition to students. So all of those, for each of our schools, the reasons our schools look different, and they're not just a group of portables, which is another direction you could go, but that's not the direction this bond program went, is that it then each school then has the flavor of its own community. And that's very much true now in Pinole. And so it'll be very exciting. Pinole Valley will be open in September, or in August. So the school opens in August, so there'll be a ribbon cutting, and and the students will be moved over, and then it's just a matter of taking down the portables that they're using now, and bringing back the baseball field.
Yes, yes. They said as soon as school's out and the kids are gone, they're gonna hustle.
Yep.
They'll be getting ready for the opening of August.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time for Pinole.
I think it's awesome. Yeah, great. So that's our local news.
That's right. And then we get to Sacramento.
And then Sacramento again, with that Proposition 221 Assembly Bill. And it did pass.
It passed. There was
That's
only
right.
one vote against it. Mr. Kiley, a Republican gentleman, who also had been a Teach for America Corps member, as it turns out, among other things.
Okay.
Mr. Kiley was opposed. One of our board members actually did appear and was opposed. But there's been an adjustment, an amendment to it. And so it no longer specifically calls out Teach for America. It's just, it's been broadened. It's any intern program, any third-party internship program, which provides inexperienced teachers. Those inexperienced teachers need to be given more support and not be placed in front of the most vulnerable children. That's the thinking here. And so that it doesn't mean that you can't still have your program, but your program just wouldn't be, the children that you would then be supporting would be children from more affluent homes who have more support at home, and who would then be able to have, be more successful and not rely as heavily on the experience of teachers. So there were two amendments that were added. Assemblymember Garcia accepted the amendments, and then one of them was just to change the name, to take the references to Teach for America out. And another one was to say that if you were going to, you don't pay a finder's fee. Right now, Teach for America gets paid $5,000 a year. So that's money you could use to have as a bonus for teachers, experienced teachers signing bonus for teachers who go and choose to teach at these schools that have much lower income children. So that's an adjustment that could be made. So there's that, and then there was the other one was that, and I've been told that Teach for America and other organizations like it have done this in certain places, where it's not a 2-year commitment, it's a 5-year commitment. So that if you're going to have new inexperienced teachers, they're going to come in, and if they're going to make a commitment, you're not going to bring them in unless their commitment's going to be for 5 years. And that's what the plan should be. It shouldn't just be, oh, I'm testing this out and I can be done by the end of next year. It should be, I'm really looking seriously at this career, and I'm willing to give it a 5-year shot. At least I'm willing to say that I will do that. Because in your third and fourth year, 5th year, you're going to be much better than you are in your first year. Anyway, so it has gone forward. We'll see where it goes from here. As I said, it's controversial. There were the teachers unions both spoke in favor of the bill. AXA and the administrators were against it. And yes, I told you that. I believe there are many alums in the administrator department, right? I think the administrators also were against Mr. Thurman.
Yeah.
So ever since I saw that, I thought I have a sense of
who they
where,
are.
yes.
Who they really are.
Right, sure. All right, so I mean,
Yeah.
I got their alignments. Their alignments are there. So they were there with CCSA, the California Charter School Association, and of course the Teach for America representatives were also there, and spoke. The most one of the lead speakers was Julian Vasquez Heilig, who spoke and gave his research, right? And the research just tells the story. Experienced teachers have better results with children, and folks that come into a program that really is set up for 2 years, folks who come into a program that is designed that way will very likely leave after 2 years, and 85% of them are gone by the 4th year. They may be doing something else in education, like running a charter school, but they're not teaching.
And the idea that you had told me about the goal of TFA was not necessarily to create good teachers, but rather to create leaders. So they're practicing leadership on our children rather than trying to be good teachers. We want teachers for whom that's a calling, and we want homegrown teachers. We're working on pushing the teacher academies, and that's our focus here.
And CTA is working on bringing national board certification.
There you go.
They're putting in a Jump Start program here in West Contra Costa. The United Teachers of Richmond are working hard to bring that to more and more of our teachers. That's where you're going to have the most success. If we do that, if we want our children to have extraordinary teachers, we have to invest in extraordinary teachers. We can't continue to invest in experienced teachers.
Yeah, the HR person has been going around the state, and he is very happy with the results that he's getting, more and more highly qualified applicants, and he's saying it's, well, of course, made a difference.
We have more to offer them now. That was the whole idea.
And so, this is for the fall, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
So that's that one. The other bill is the 1500 bills, which are going to be heard, I guess, on the 10th. And that's 1505, 1506, and 1507, and those have to do with the charter school rules, whether or not charter schools can, the appeal process could be ended, and whether or not you could actually vote against them for reasons that you're protecting the children in the traditional school district, the finances, and the facilities, and the academic issues.
So in Sacramento on the 10th, they're going to be hearing
the hearing, just like there was the hearing the other day.
Well, that evening, in our school board, we're going to be, hopefully, I expect it's going to be on the agenda to vote that we support those bills, in fact. So that's coming up on the 10th as well. And it's also my birthday.
It's also your birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday in advance. So there's that. I just wanted to talk a little bit about special ed, and the big thing this week nationally in education is that our Secretary of Education, Ms. DeVos, took it upon herself in her budget to eliminate Special Olympics. That became a big cause, and the president, of course, was criticized for it, and so he made the call to say that he was telling his people, which means Ms. DeVos is his people, that no, he's going to overturn her and they're going to keep Special Olympics. So that's a wonderful thing, and that was an important story. But in addition to that, what I hope they look at is funding special ed, because that's what Washington doesn't do, and you wind up with unfunded mandates. Our children are not given the funds, our special needs kids are not given the money that Washington and Sacramento need to give us to help them be successful. So as much as I'm happy that the Special Olympics are there, but I think we need to look at the bigger issue around special ed. And the last thing is our workshop, the budget workshop, which we last week said.
Oh, that's right. We remembered that at the board meeting where we discussed we were
Grad Tutors
supposed to cut the contracts, and in order to make sure we have more funding for our grad tutor positions, and it didn't happen, that there was mention of a special workshop to look at the budget and contracts, and it hasn't happened yet, so we will be reminding the board and leadership that we need to have this workshop soon. And it wouldn't hurt. You have a lot of things to help us on. Let them know, everybody, how you feel about that, having a special workshop. And we need to make that happen. Yeah.
Right. There's no changes unless people come and really do, make the point. Which is, and people did come that time, but the results of that at the last thing that was said was, and now we're going to have a workshop. We haven't totally decided, but those are the kinds of things that can fall through the cracks.
So the pressure has to stay on. The pressure on me, the pressure on the board, the pressure on all of us to do this. Thank you.
Right. So one way to do that is subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends to subscribe to our channel. Press the button so the bell goes off when we do a new episode, and share it out with your friends. Let them know that this is a place that we will give you suggestions on how to help. We believe you can best help kids in our district and beyond. So thanks. See you soon.
Bye.